Hi, and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
Beth's looking through the witch's legs.
Never a good idea.
If you just take out the legs, it'll be fine.
Okay, we'll take out the
Or the bats. Just move it.
We'll just move it, right? Well, can I just move it over here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hi there.
Except you exposed all my junk.
Happy October. And today is the day we draw for our prizes for 400 subscribers. So that's today. And the best thing is, all of you know, probably by now, none of you might care, but the Diamondbacks made it to the World Series.
Yes.
And they lost the first game.
Yes.
I saw something, like blurb about it that said, snakes on a plane.
Yeah, snakes on a plane.
So I saw a little news thing that the bars in Phoenix wanted to be able to stay open an hour later because of it.
Right. And the governor's office said, no, sorry. But, so downtown next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the games are downtown right by my office. So it's going to be...
Can't get in, can't get out.
Yeah. No, we'll be able to get in the morning because those people aren't going to wake up in the morning. But I guess they're going to be raising garage prices and it's going to be crazy.
Well, y'all may not know that I drove Uber for 2.5, 3 years. I don't know, a while. And Phoenix has spring training here. And during spring training, there are certain areas of town because there are several baseball stadiums where different games are held. And people come into town and stay at hotels very close to whatever their team is going to play. And this is all over town.
And it's like March, right?
This is
February, March.
There's, I think, 2 in Scottsdale and 1 in Glendale and 1 in Tempe and
a couple in Phoenix, down by the zoo.
Yeah, and then, there's a lot, okay? And there's games going on all day, every day. And honestly, it's fun because all the businesses do stuff and it's kind of a fun time in the city. But when you are trying to get into or out of one of those areas that has a game,
it's no fun. It's no fun.
Because the roads just were not built for that. Oh, and of course, during those games, when you go in, there's a couple of areas in town where it's an entire block of bars, and people are packed, standing room only on the sidewalks, leaking into the streets, and you're supposed to find the one person that you're supposed to pick up. And I drove around in circles. Finally, the guy steps out into the road. He's like, "I'm ready."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
it's going to be cray downtown.
Yeah. I mean, like when Naomi and I went to the Sting concert, there was a Pink concert on the same night, and the restaurant that we were going to go to, it was packed to the gills.
I was like, "There's no game." I didn't know Sting. I didn't know Pink was coming.
Yeah, I hadn't.
So it was kind of a nightmare.
Not at all on my radar.
And that's
just a tiny taste of the madness that's going to be going on.
Yeah, it's going to be
World Series is always.
It's going to be crazy,
because there's not just the Diamondbacks fans, but a lot of Texas Rangers fans are going to be in town for that.
Invade. Mm-hmm. And on Tuesday there's the World Series happening at the ballpark and a Suns game happening right at the Footprint Center. So,
but you know what? I'm so
and it's Halloween.
happy.
And it's Halloween. So that's going to be a crazy
I'm so happy about... I don't care about baseball at all. I
care a little.
No, I don't care at all. I'm happy that Phoenix
Rogue
is
barking
something.
at you because you don't care about baseball.
But I am very happy that all of this stuff is going on again because during COVID, people weren't going out to ball games and all that, And
Remember when they had the games with the fake people in the stadiums?
and I just kept thinking about how, like you were saying, for the symphony, you were trying to get people to come and sit in the seats, going out and trying to do that, because playing to an empty room.
It's sad.
And I can't imagine how that is for athletes when they're doing their game and nobody's there to watch them.
Yeah, and they're used to all the cheering.
No cheering.
But
nothing.
I watched the game last night, and it went into, I was going to say overtime, but it went into extra innings, and because they were tied, and it was very painful and stressful. And Mark was like, I know why I don't like to watch baseball anymore, because I grew up watching the Orioles, and they would always crumble at the very end. It was very stressful. And I'm like, I know. So,
and
anyway.
I have been to a couple of professional baseball games in the stadiums.
But they were tied, so we were watching, and they were at the Texas Rangers stadium, and the noise was deafening, and this pitcher was like standing there, and I'm like, how is he focusing with all that chaos going around?
Well, it probably helps in some way.
Maybe I don't know.
But just like anything like that, any kind of performance event, when you don't have somebody there. Mm-hmm. I remember going to huge Star Trek conventions, and they sold different tier levels of seats, and when they didn't sell the seats up close, they said, if nobody is sitting in that seat, because they were numbered, if nobody is sitting in that seat, move forward and get as close as you can, so that when the person comes out to stand on the stage, all they see is people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's fun though.
Yeah.
Well, we wound up doing a little stories at the beginning, which is not our style. But anyway, Eve's going first.
I am going first. So I want to get this is see-through, so it's kind of hard to work on. Before I talk about that, I did finish making the 2 sets of alien bags. One for me, one for the Etsy shop.
Nice.
And these are glow in the dark.
Fun.
And I have to say that
They're so cute. They're so cute.
That I can't wait to see this thing glowing at me, sometime that I come and they're cute. I putting little aliens on the
little charms.
Yeah,
on
the
cute.
charms. But the first one, I'm saying, okay, this is mine, because I didn't like the way it went on. So Beth and I were talking about it, and here's this little dude, right? And I'll take a picture so you can see him. But I'm not sure I like this one either. So then I go to put on, I'm going to put white ones on these are gray, and I'm going to put white on these. And I went to start trying to do it, and the thing moved, and I'm putting a split ring on it so that it's more stable. And it chipped the top of the little white guy, and I was like, I am not having luck with these guys putting these things on. So I'm like, well, that's going to happen another time. And I put it aside. And, sorry, they're kind of big and unwieldy when you're trying to hold them like that, because, they're cloth. They don't stand up.
Those are cute.
So, I
Alien
finished.
bags on the Etsy shop.
One to buy and one for her.
Yeah, one set for me, because that's why I bought the fabric in the first place. But, anyway, so what to talk about next? I have so much here. So I have been working on this 2023 snowman.
The snowman looks nice.
He's starting
Cute.
to look like a snowman. And
that is really sweet.
I did some of the back stitching because I needed 2 threads to do the eyes. I didn't have the eyes in there, and I'm like, that thing just looks creepy. I need to put the face in. So, but some of the back stitching,
doesn't have a face.
Some of the back stitching here and there is also 2 strands. So I said, rather than cut it and try to, tuck the thread, because like I've mentioned, tucking the thread is almost impossible. I decided to just go ahead and find some close places that had that two thread back stitch, and I did those. Thankfully, it was kind of a short piece of thread. And then just his eyeballs are in there, I'm like, okay, yeah, he needs a nose. So I went ahead and did that. And I'm plugging away at it, and it's okay, and it's getting there. Oh, I know what. I was like, Etsy shop, there was something else. So I went to Hobby Lobby to get something. I'll talk to you about it in a minute. And I said, well, I was looking for something, and I don't know about other Hobby Lobbies, but ours has rearranged where everything is, and it's very difficult to find some things that, the glue is now in the very front of the store, where it used to be in the back in the corner in the dark. Okay, so I went to go find something, and I walked by one of those Christmas kiosks.
Dangerous, danger.
And it had a box of these beads, and it's snowman beads.
Oh, so cute.
So I made
Let me see.
So I made those, and
so it's pre-printed with the little face and everything.
And I found this baker's twine there in the same area, and since those have those really big holes, remember I have the 4th of July ones, and I was struggling with those because the holes are so big. And I saw this baker's twine, and I said, that's strong, it's sturdy, it'll work. And so I did.
It's so cute.
I did a couple with red and a couple with green.
Oh, it's adorable.
So,
it's so cute. The face.
So, anyway, those are the pictures.
that's
The
really
pictures are
cute.
taken. By the time you see this, I hope we'll have gotten around to putting them in the Etsy shop, but they'll be in the Etsy shop soon, as well as
Cute.
the bag.
Adorable.
Yeah, so there's some other stuff I'm going to talk to you about that I bought there, but baker's twine and snowman for the
win.
So I when I first saw the baker's twine, I was like, oh, I have all those ornaments I'm working on. You know what? I could probably use that. And then, with the snowman, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm getting that.
Mm-hmm.
I went in there to spend a few cents, and I
Spent more than a few.
Yeah. Okay, so then also, my hands start hurting when I'm working on this plastic thing, because I'm having to really use force to try to get the needle underneath to tuck the threads. And if with the snowman, I'm changing colors even more often. As a matter of fact, there's a groove in my finger. Do you see the groove?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was working on it just a few minutes ago. So since it was painful, I said I need something else to work on, and I didn't want to work on my WIP-GO thing. I did a little bit, but I have so many of these ornaments I wanted to do. So I decided to start on this one. And when I first started on it, I, for some reason, thought I was like looking at this cloth here. I was remembering this cloth on this one, and I started stitching it. Went, those snowflakes aren't showing up at all, because I went to put it on
Which one are you stitching?
the Noel one.
Oh, okay.
That's on blue.
That's cute.
And I picked kind of a tan sparkly thread, the one that with the lantern.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the white wasn't showing up at all, which means it won't show up for this, so I'm going to have to pick something else. I was like thinking, I'd use that, but I'm like, yeah, the white won't show up at all. Anyway, so I started on this one. And I switched the fabric to this. It's not blue, but so this is how
bluish tinge to it.
Yeah, it's bluish.
Yeah.
I switched it to this, and I have blue fabric. I I just said, you know what, I want it on this. So again, and you will see when I take a picture that over here and half of this snowflake, you can't see them. I am really good at picking fabric that threads won't show up on. So what I did was I took some of that shiny thread that I'm so fond of, and I went over, and you can really see it now. So I think that's a great solution, even though it means I have to stitch everything twice. So I'm getting through this one a lot faster because it doesn't hurt my hands and because I don't have to change threads so often. But I think I'm going to be really happy with the final look on that. And this one I am using, I told myself to use DMC for everything. But I happen to have the called for colors, so I said, man, whatever, I'll just use the called for colors. So...
Are there fancy floss for that one?
Yeah, Weeks Dye Works. I think there was something else besides the Weeks Dye Works, but I mean, I just happened to have it. So. Oh, no, I didn't have one of them, but I had a different Weeks Dye Works one, and I said, I'll just use that. So then these are all the threads I need for all the ornaments. They're everywhere. My second WIP-GO project for October was 10 days on Stitch All the Things, and I'm working on the pillow. I have not done 10 days. I will not do 10 days, and I don't care. So this is how far I've gotten. When I say I haven't done 10 days, I mean, I've done like, I don't know, 6. If you call, a few stitches a day. But, again, to give my hands a rest, I was like working on this. And I want to finish it, but I have all those ornaments, and I'm going, I really should, I don't have time to work on that. I need to get busy. I need to finish. And of course I was sewing and making snowmen and going to 1,000,000 doctor's visits. And so I was trying to find time to do things besides the fact that I needed to sit around sometime and do nothing. So before I show you what my WIP-GO projects for November are, I will show you my 2023 temperature SAL. And guess what happened this week?
It got cold. Or ish. Kind of. Not that cold.
We have yellow. We have yellow.
This morning I went to breakfast and I was like, it's cold out. So I wore this, but I'm like, it's hot out.
And there's a dog.
Come here. Stop barking, you silly. Why are you barking? You're so naughty, dog.
So we had 3 days under 90 degrees.
We're getting there, we're getting there, we're getting there.
And honestly, people who visit Phoenix during weather like this is why people move here.
That's right.
And because it's not cold and it's not
It's
hot.
October. It's the best month of the year.
Oh, stop. I think this town really shines in February.
I do think that
Yeah.
myself.
Because January is still a little cold. But February, March is like, mwah, and then it gets gross again.
All right, so for WIP-GO for November, one of the calls, and I don't remember which one it was, is "And to All a Good Night," another Christmas one that I'm working on, and I am about approximately halfway through. So this is, the called for on this is Classic Colorworks, and I am using 0, no, not 0. I am using almost no Classic Colorworks. I went to the attic and I got the Classic Colorwork color and compared it to the Weeks Dye Works color, and I I got the Weeks Dye Works that would match for 90% of it. I think the black coffee, I just left black coffee and perfect pie crust, I think. The reason being that, to me, okay, whether or not it's true, to me, Weeks Dye Works seems to have more variation in it. And if I'm going to use a fancy floss, I want it to have some more variation. So that's why I decided to do that. I just liked it better. Now, that being said,
So cute. Are you almost finished?
I'm about halfway through.
Well,
This tree,
Oh, it's
this
long.
tree is in the middle.
Oh, I see.
And I only have night done. I don't have good or
I see.
or all or
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, the tree that you see here is the middle of the
so pretty.
pattern.
And
And
all these houses and
I
stuff
love
are
it
done?
so much on blue rather
Oh,
than
that
on
tree
black.
isn't done.
You-
That tree isn't done. Oh no, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
the tree is done. What?
I love it so much more on blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it on black. To me, I don't know.
It's very skyish.
I like
The
color.
aurora borealis.
And I also am using quite a
So
bit
pretty.
of sparkle thread
Mhm.
on it. I'm not using Krynic. It's called Accentuate. The I think they're both Accentuate. I'm not sure. At the attic, one of them, I said, "Is there anything besides Krynic I could use?" A long time ago. I think maybe even when I was picking this up, and they showed me that, and I was like, you know what? I really like that.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was Petite Triggerberry, but I remember you mentioning Accentuate.
Yeah. So, and I'd never heard of it then or since. I just keep going over there to buy it. So I am excited to be working on this, and so this particular WIP-GO project I will work on as much as I can, still making all these ornaments. But I'm excited to try to get it done. And then the other call was,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
and I haven't said who anything is by, but the Aunt All a Good Night is stitching with the housewives. The Stitch All the Things is Erica Michaels, and the other ornaments, I'm sorry, I don't remember who they're from. The 2023 Snowman is Anna Kowalinska of Sweet Annette, and I don't know about the Noel. So this is Snowflake Ornaments. I think that's specifically what it's called. And it is a cross-stitching for fun, cross-stitching for fun pattern. And I think I've had this for a while because I'm pretty sure I bought this before the Ukraine war started because I got it from their Etsy shop. And they have a shop somewhere else now, which you can find through their Facebook page. They have some very, very cute designs. I have the thing for Noel over here. It's designed by Dawn Frisk of the Mindful Needle. Frisk, something like that. Anyway, I was like, well, you know, since I'm making ornaments, maybe I should make these too. Because, you know, I don't know if we've mentioned, I have kind of a big family. Anyway, so back to Hobby Lobby, why I was there. I wanted a hoop to finish this. Now, normally I don't finish things in a hoop, but I thought carefully about it, and I said, you know, I think I will. And so I went to go get a hoop, and I got one of those wooden hoops, you know, the ones that have been around forever. And I thought I got one that was the right size. I came back, and it was out to here. And so while I could get this outside edge, and believe it or not, I folded this in quarters and thought I started right in the middle, but it is more over here than it is over here. Anyway, I said no.
What's that? Oh, you messed up my thing?
No. So
Messed up my thing?
so that's why I was there and ended up buying snowmen, and I found these snowflakes, which I thought might look
cute.
good with a snowflake sheep. Maybe. I have other snowflakes, but I saw these because I was looking at the snowman beads. They were there. And then I remembered that we had sold all of the alien things that we made with these big alien heads, and I thought, well, you know, I'll go grab a package of them. And when I did that, I saw these. And I was like, oh my gosh, those are so cute. So I picked those up.
Oh, they're cute.
Aren't they adorable?
A little spaceman sitting
Yeah.
in
We'll have pictures.
one in the moon and one in the star.
Yeah, they're adorable. Yeah, I love them. And while I was walking around there, I saw a clearance area in the where the charms and stuff were. This one was on clearance, I'm sure, because somebody stole one of them. Now,
Wait, what? Somebody stole what?
one of
One of
the
the-
things.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
As my friend
Why?
used to say, people are pigs.
why? This is $4. Do you need this other book so desperately that you can't buy? You've
Some
got
little
to
child.
steal one.
Some little child.
May you
probably.
never have any joy with that. But that being said, it was marked down to 99 cents. And one of these little books says Sense and Sensibility, and the other one is Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I like both those books,
Nice.
you know. So it was 99 cents. And then I saw
Do something with them.
a giraffe. Now, this
Mr.
giraffe,
Giraffe.
we've been trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this giraffe. It looks like a giraffe, but it's wearing like a helmet.
And also armor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it looks
something.
like a,
So-
it's wearing a space helmet or something.
If one of you guys can figure out why this giraffe is wearing a helmet and armor, let me know. Is it a space giraffe?
Maybe it's a war giraffe.
Maybe it's a war giraffe. Somebody is taking that giraffe into war and they needed it to have armor so they could ride on its back as they went into war. Well, you know, giraffes have a pretty decent kick. They can be pretty.
And they got those big horns. They go,
And they're super tall.
They're super
Yeah.
tall.
they can see your vote.
So when I got home with my
If
hoop,
the orcs can use olifants,
Yeah.
somebody could use a
A war giraffe.
giraffe.
so when I got home with my hoop, I put it over this, and it was like I said, it was too big, and so I had to take Beth to a doctor's appointment yesterday, and I said, I'm just going to run to Hobby Lobby while you're in there and exchange it for a smaller one. And they did not have a smaller one in that same wood, you know, like I said, the ones that have been around forever that I wouldn't use to stitch with because they don't hold anything tight or whatever, but that's how I learned to embroider on that one of those hoops. So I got one of these because they had one in the right size. And when you see, you know, it fits perfectly, right? And so I went up to exchange it thinking, and I had my little change out. I'm going to have to pay some more. I didn't pay attention to the price on the first one because that's what I wanted, so I just picked it up. And I didn't really pay attention to the price on this one. That wooden hoop, that the old-fashioned kind of wooden hoop, cost more than this plastic one. I got 54 cents back.
Oh, weird.
I was like, if I'd paid attention, I'd have bought this kind to begin with. Now, this isn't the kind that normally people use for finishing stuff, but I would have bought this to begin with. By the way, this is only $2. So that is me, but yeah, I'm so scattered. I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go next. Yeah. I got a mess going on.
What is this
here.
from? Where did this needle come from?
I don't know. Okay, so what I've been working on right now, I'm going to go ahead and show this, is the other day, I don't know, last time we were in the attic, last time I was in the attic anyway, it must have been at the beginning of the month sometime, because they had Halloween stuff out, I guess. This little kit from Praiseworthy Stitches was on the checkout counter, so I went ahead and bought it. So it's a little tiny kit, and it comes with all this the orange rickrack and the little black ornament disc, and it comes with the backing board and fabric and threads. So I really don't do much in the way of Halloween stitching. Last week, was it last week that we had the Stitch with the Housewives little trio of stitches that I did. Like I said, I have I do very little Halloween stitching, but this it's a little witch, and I haven't done there's a little black cat and pumpkin, and I just started this last night, and so it's really quick. But it came with this little fabric and all the stuff.
Rick-rack.
Yeah, and the rickrack and a little ribbon to make a bow and all those things. So I just picked it up, and it's been sitting. I had it sitting there. Just while I was working on this and working on that and all that, and I kept looking at it, going, I want to start that. I want to start that. I want to start. And so last night I finally did, because it's the end of the month. It's almost Halloween, and I've actually done all my WIP-GO stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I have like the cat. That's what I have to stitch now. And then there's a little bit of back stitching and French knots, which I'm gonna do as colonial knots. And I don't know if I'll get it mounted and finished, FFO'd in time for Halloween. I kind of doubt it, but
It'll come again next year.
Yeah. So, and even I were thinking about doing some kind of like a little Christmas tree, a little artificial tree for all of our Christmas ornament
nice.
kind of things. So, maybe we'll do a Halloween one. I don't know. But anyway, so let me put that over there. So, so for WIP-GO, I had finished the piano, the Elephants on Parade a couple weeks ago, and Piano Cat I did the six days on or whatever, and showed that last week. And so I just had the FFOs, the new starts I'd done already. I did the bat. I think I showed that part of the bat. I started that, and I started the Black Cat season. I'll show that in a minute because I got a little further on that. But I finally did the Western Biscornu. I had taken it. I took it all apart. I took it all the way apart to do it, and on the top part, I stitched one more thread over all of the back stitching, because I had done the back stitching with one thread, as it said. But that fabric, I think it's the fabric. It's kind of like I don't know if it's like polyester or something. Yeah, it's not 100% cotton. And so it's a little, it's fuzzy and yucky.
It's cute.
And so, so I had
really
done
nice.
the one line of back stitching around the design, as it said, but I went ahead and did a second line. I did it with a second thread, went over the back stitching on one half. But it took me so long. It was so tedious, and I was so stitching in my sleep all the time. So I just didn't do the other side. I just thought, what the heck, but redoing it, going over it really helped because it made it a little bit easier to see. And so that I stitched the two back stitch lines together and made the little shape, and it came out well. I took my time, went very carefully, and talk about like your hand cramping, with the like trying to hold the biscornu pieces in place, and just that my hands were getting very crampy. But I finished it, and I put the buttons in there. This top button could be a little bit smaller to get in between those cactuses, but I think it looks good. And I put it on the back there. So it's finished. That's Western Biscornu by Tiny Modernist. Then this is the picture of it. This is on white, and I did this on. I don't know if it was already this color or if I might have coffee tea dyed it. I don't remember, but it's done. So there's that. And then the other FFO for WIP-GO for this month was the Bunny Sampler by Linda Lautenschlager of Chessie and Me. And they always take lovely little decor stuff, but that means the picture of the finished object is very small. But so this is the one with I think it's called a spider rose. And it's got a handful of specialty stitches, like this little heart down here is done with satin stitches, and I think the alphabet things are all 1/1, I think, as I recall. But yeah, so and there's a little bunny there, and I did the bunny kind of funny because it's fancy floss, and however I did it, you can the bunny looks like kind of striped, a little stripe across them. Yeah, but anyway, so I did on 32 count. This is that Murano Carré that Hobby Lobby used to carry, on the fleur color. That's kind of a tan with these little painted on white flower things. But I at Hobby Lobby the other day, I bought a piece of mat board, and so I that's what it's mounted on, and I've become more of a fan of lacing on here rather than gluing, just because, especially with, again, this piece had a frame around it and makes it very square, and I just have found that like I'm less nervous about getting it in exactly the right place, because with lacing I can kind of fudge it around and
you can adjust
push
it.
and pull it, yeah. And so
that's so cute.
Yeah, so
that came out really nice.
Yeah, and I had these little board things. I think I got them at Target. I'm pretty sure at the dollar spot at Target. I think I have one other one. I don't know if it's a little 2-pack or something. But now that I look at it, I'm going, that's not square.
Oh no,
it's not exactly in the middle of this little paddle. Yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, don't enter it in the state fair.
But so there is a little, it makes, I debated about whether or not to put something on there, like some trim or something. And
I think it looks really nice.
But I like the way it looks, because the design itself, it's hard to see from a distance, but the design itself has a little border on it. So that, the only reason I would put one on there at all is that, because there's just a little bit of a gap around here where it's glued to the board, because of the corners, I guess, make it a little lumpy. But like I said, I've become more of a fan of lacing. I've gotten a little better at it. I'm still not really super great at the corners, but this one, actually, the corners came out pretty good. But yeah, so this is a bunny sampler by Chessie and me. So that's my other FFR for October. I don't know why I'm talking funny. But so I did a little bit more on Black Cat season number 2, Black Cat Singing. And I'm almost finished with this, actually. And I think I might go ahead and put the border in because it goes right under this fence, because it's the bottom of the picture of the chart. So I can be ready to start the third chart of this series for the bell pull. So I did, like I said, I finished the Midnight Walker one up here. And so now this is Black Cat Singing, and all that's left is, because I put in all the little, there's some little stars in there, and all that's left is the fence down here that he's sitting on. And I finished the cat, I did the back stitching for the cat's face and the whiskers and stuff. And I did all the little music notes. I was gonna like double over the X's for the music notes.
I think it looks good.
To do them with 2 threads, but I liked it with the music notes with 1 thread.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because I couldn't tell from the picture whether the music note heads, were 2 threads or not, and because sometimes they look that way and sometimes they don't. I don't know. So, but I just did it with 1 thread, and I liked the way they came out. So yeah, so that was all. That was fun. That was my ongoing. It started off being one of my new starts, and I just, like I said, I liked it a lot. So then for November, the numbers were number 3 and number 8. And so my number 3 is a Peacock. This is a Design Works little kit. And like this.
Oh, that's pretty.
So it came with the white Aida and all the threads and stuff. It's very blue and purplish and green. There's a little bit of green in there. Very pretty design. This is by Nicola Gregory for Design Works. And so, make sure I have this right side up. Yeah. So this is where I am. Starting this. I'm trying to get the glare of the window in here behind it. So yeah, you really can't tell. It's just the bottom. The bottom part of the bird. So because I started in the middle, I think. That is so middle-ish.
Pretty. I like peacocks.
So yeah, so it's coming along very pretty, very nicely. And I dyed the kit Aida. It was white Aida in the kit, and I just dyed it this light pinky purpley color. Wow. And so that's number 3. And then the finish, the FFO for number 3 is this. This is the Santa 2018. I was thinking it was one of the. I thought at first it was one of the Prairie Schooler Santas, because I have that 2018 also in my to be finished bag. But then I remembered it's actually this Santa. And this Santa actually was from a magazine, and it was from 1990 something, 92, 95, I don't know what. But I started it, and I didn't finish it until later, and so I changed the year on it to 2018 because that's when I finished it. And actually, I picked it up again because of Flosstube, because I started Flosstube. I came across it like in 2017, and that's so that's when I got around to doing this, to finishing it.
Well, we know how you do on finishing.
Yeah. Well, and because there's beads and there's French knots and there's I think it called for Kryneck and ribbon.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, so it's very complicated, and I think I was afraid of it because it's just so hard. And the thing is that it's from a magazine, and I thought I had the magazine, and I had originally like bought some things to finish it. This is back in the day before I knew anything about finishing. But so I had like bought some. Oh, look at that!
Oh, it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
With the little white border, I think it actually looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Show it to the camera.
Oh.
But I was thinking about
It's
how I was
really
going to finish
cute.
it.
I was like, that looks like the same size as this snowflake guy.
But so like I said, I had bought some finishing items for it, and then
Can I see it up close?
I put them somewhere, and I don't know where they are now. Because I kept thinking, well, I think I know where it is. I think it's in here. No, I think it's in there. No, I don't know where it is.
Oh, these are stitched down as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so so I may do something completely different to finish it. I don't even have I don't even know what I did with the magazine page that had, finishing instructions on it. So I don't know. I may just do maybe I'll do just a flat ornament finish, just like maybe
It's
I put a
really
little
cute.
stuffing or something inside it to give it a little poof. I don't know.
It's really
But
cute.
this is one of my FFO projects for November. And it'll be appropriate if I can finish it and, I can use it for Christmas. And then my other, WIP-GO, WIP is on the balcony. And this is one that Eve designed for me from a picture that I took of my cats in Little Rock on my balcony, my apartment balcony.
I love that picture.
It's a beautiful picture. It was like in the evening, and it was, nice temperature outside, and the sun was kind of going down, and the cats were enjoying the balcony. Puck was sitting on my little table I used to have that was by the window, and Snug was sitting out on the balcony, and my little chair was out there, and all that. So this picture is much nicer because behind the picture
There's a dumpster.
was the parking lot. There was a bunch of cars and stuff. There was a real pretty tree off in the distance, but so Eve kind of fixed it up a little bit. But so this is where I am so far. I've got the outline of Puck going on there, and the balcony. and
I'm
stuff,
very
so.
offended that she hasn't finished it yet.
One right.
Yeah, so hopefully, look at that.
Cute. Show the camera. So cute.
It's not finished yet. Don't I wish it was that easy? Pop it in there. It's done here.
So that's this is my number 8 WIP for WIP-GO. And my FFO, my number 8 FFO this is hands-on design, more chocolate bunnies. Life needs more chocolate bunnies.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
so
remember that.
I think I'm gonna do a flat finish on this. I have lots of stuff to mount things on. But
So
I
do you
like
think
these little ones.
that when you do that and we put it out at Easter that we can just put a whole bunch of chocolate bunnies in front?
That would be good.
And
They
then,
wouldn't
Put a
stay
bowl
there.
full of chocolate
They wouldn't
I was
stay
going to
there
say,
very
that
long.
won't last.
We've purposely not purchased any Halloween
Halloween
candy this year because it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would just eat it constantly.
Yeah, and we really never. I think one year we got one kid that came to the door trick or treating.
Well, I still want to have it just in case, but to tell you how many kids live in this area where she and I live, it's a gated community. The school buses don't come in here or near here. Mm-hmm. They don't park. They don't come on the street outside of it. They don't come on that street outside of it. They don't go to the parking lot over there, and they don't come in the door. So there's got to be 0 kids because there is an elementary school not too far away.
So there are some kids.
Yeah, there are like maybe a handful of kids.
I guess they're not.
4 or 5 kids in this
Are they
area.
school age?
Well,
If they're in high school, the buses won't come and get them if they live less than a mile from the school. Ask me how I know that.
But because they're those girls
On the end there.
on the corner, and then and next door to us is a couple kids or
Yeah.
one kid.
Anyway,
So
I
you
was
see them
thinking
once
about,
in a while.
I
but,
was thinking about the fact that the buses never come in here.
Yeah, But anyway, so this is Life Needs More Chocolate Bunnies. And you can't see the bunnies very well on camera, but they're the word bunnies. Or no, Life Needs, sorry. Life Needs is right here. It's done in blue and white. And yeah. So, but I think I know what I'm going to finish this on. Maybe so I'll have to see how it fits and how it looks and all that. But yeah, so that's my other FFO.
Of course, if we buy no Halloween candy, we'll get a whole bunch of kids.
But you're gonna have to answer the door by yourself.
We're gonna have to have.
Put that-
We're gonna
put a-
have to have a.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have a sign that says "No candy."
Yeah, I was gonna say no candy, no trick or treat.
No trick or treat.
That poor woman.
Oh, I think it was actually a setup, but anyway.
I don't know
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't know. It was funny.
She's funny. There was
So-
a video we saw that was really funny.
Yeah, so I think that's me.
Is that you? Good. Because I
Yeah.
just finished this row, and this row is 327 stitches long, so I was afraid if I started it, I wouldn't be able to show you. So, okay, here's a... Hi, it's me. My turn now. Here's a photo of this shawl when I finished the top portion. I put it on the couch, and I also... Do you remember it had all those red and
Dangling.
yellow strings hanging down? You can see back here, I put it, what do you call it? I wove in all the ends. They're still hanging out because when I block it, I want there to be extra yarn to be able to, if it pulls this way, I didn't want the yarn ends to pop out. So once I block it, I'll trim them shorter. But here, let me, so this still isn't, Eve was like, is that all it is in size? But you can see it's still gathered on the needle down here. So it's much bigger. So this top, here, hold that right there. This is the top portion. And that's the portion I had on the couch that I just showed you. And then I picked up stitches, as I kept talking about. I picked up stitches along this end. And now I'm knitting this direction. This is the Yara shawl by... I always forget her name. Natasha Hornby. It's mosaic knitting. Most of it is. So what you do is, it looks like two color work, like Fair Isle or something. But what you do is you. Sorry. It's okay. It's got holders on the ends. You knit across it, like I just knit across in black up here, and now I'm going to go to the other end and knit the same direction in white. So you knit one color across, you go back and knit the other color across, and then you turn the work and do it. You knit one color across, and then you knit the second color across, and you just slip. You do different things and slip stitches and stuff, and it creates this what looks like very intricate color work, and it is intricate color work, but it's very easy to do. And that's how you also do
Unless
these.
you think you didn't do it right and then you panic.
Right. Well, actually, okay, so here's a funny story. Remember how I said, you probably don't remember, but a while ago, this is supposed to be knit in size 4 and size 5 needles. And I was working on it for a long time, and then I put it down because I wanted to finish Jordan's sweater. And when I picked it back up, the needles I found in the bag were size 6. I didn't realize. I put them on and started knitting again. And I don't even remember now where in the shawl it was. It's possible that I knit this. So the portions that are in the bigger needle are the red and yellow lines like this. And then this mosaic color work charting here. And like this plus area. So I think when I picked it back up, I was somewhere near the middle or just past the middle, which is this line is the middle. And so I was like, oh, and I looked and I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be size 5 needles, and I've used size 6 all along. Okay, and I just finished it that way, a 4 and a 6. It's only like a 0.5 millimeter difference in needle size. So then when I went to pick up these edges, and so I picked up in the small needle, and then I knit this red line in the bigger needle. I was supposed to get the bigger needle out. So I looked in my bag, and I had size 5 I had the size 6s and I had size 5 in there. And I'm like, I have no memory of what I did before. So this bottom portion is the bigger areas are knit in like 0.5 to whatever millimeter too big. And then I decided to use the size 5s in this portion, just whatever. I mean, it's just a shawl, so it won't affect the state of the world. So, and I did one boo-boo over here, and I just fudged it. You can kind of see. I tried to just, or maybe, where is it? I tried to fix it a little bit by pulling on the thread on the opposite side, but you're supposed to, in this red and yellow area, you knit, like, you do red, yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow. And then when you go back, you do, if you have red yarn, you knit the red, slip the yellow, knit the red, slip the yellow, la, la, la. And then you do the same thing with the yellow. But what I did was at one point, I knit a yellow one instead of slipping it or something. So one of the yellows had extra yarn. And I mean, when I went back, I dropped that knit and I slipped it behind, but it was like too big. And so you could kind of see in one area where these little dots were too fat. So I kind of pulled it through. I don't know how it'll wash out in the end, but anyway, but overall it's going well. Now here's the news. I am going to Boston at the end of November. Did I tell you guys?
Yeah,
it's a surprise, kind of a sudden decision and a surprise decision, because my daughter's playing, Hannah's playing in a piece that is my favorite piece on earth, and I love it. And I jokingly told her years ago when she played it, I didn't get to go, but she did play it in town here. And I said, anytime you ever play this in the rest of your life, I will be there if I humanly possibly can. And so she told me some time ago that she was playing it. And I was like, I want to go. And she's like, you should. And I'm like, hello, money. And, but then turned out I had enough points. And I needed just a few more points, and it was like $70 for Mark to transfer points to me. So I'm like, I'm going. So I'm going to go see her. Now, all that being said, is that if I can finish this shawl by the end of November, I can present it to her teacher then, when she might actually need it. Sorry. In the cold weather in Boston. And so I would really like to do that. If I don't, I'm not going to stress. My whole plan was to give it to her in May, but I thought it would be fun to take it. But so I'm kind of working gangbusters on this, kind of being monogamous about my knitting, which I don't usually do. But I really love it. I don't know how long it's going to take me. It's going to take me a while. And right now I'm increasing, and I'm at 300 and, what did I say, 327. When I'm done increasing, it'll be 341, and I think it keeps 353, 387, 451 stitches, 461. Yeah, so it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I have to do a pretty complicated border. So part of me thinks there's no way by the end of November. But who knows? We'll see. So that's all I've been working on, literally. I do, however, want to make some socks. And I was like, I really should just plan this for May and do some Christmas knitting as well. And like, I don't know, expand, because I kind of am itching to start a new project. Yeah. And so the reason I was looking at my phone for a while Beth was talking to us, I was reading comments and some of your questions. A couple of questions for me. Yes, Eli liked his baby sampler, and it's up in his room now. And that Beth cross stitched for him. And then someone asked, what have I made from my hand spun? And I know I made Mom a shawl out of my hand spun. It's purple. Remember that purple kind of, it was a very simple triangle shawl. Mm. It's not very big. But I made that for her out of my hand spun yarn. And then I haven't actually made a lot of things. I did make a headband for myself out of some white alpaca that I spun, and it's really cute.
I have that ball of.
You have a ball of
Yeah,
That's
but
my
you-
Frankenstein yarn.
Yeah.
I made some
I've
very
used that
early on. Yeah,
to-
but it's
to-
very rustic looking.
Yeah,
I call
to
it
edge
Frankenstein
a couple
because it was
things.
like before I really got good at it. Now Hannah made a pair. What she calls her sleeves from my hand spun yarn. She did that. So I honestly,
she that pretty yarn that you liked.
that pretty green yarn that she let Hobbs steal and bite.
Yes.
She made sleeves that just go over her back of her shoulder. I think I have a picture. I'll put
Like
it
a
up.
little shruggy
So
thing.
that was something that Hannah made from my yarn. And I have a lot of hand spun yarn, and I have not knit it all because I'm just like, I'm really weird about it. I'm like, I need to get enough yarn to make this and blah blah that, and I get kind of hung up. But I have some plans for some of my hand spun. The other thing, I have what I call my work sweater that is a bulky yarn, and I started it a while back, and then I got hung up doing Hannah's sweater, and then Jordan's sweater, and then so I haven't finished it. It's a pattern called 3 Rectangles and 2 Triangles by Stacy Perry. It's just you knit the back and then you knit 2 fronts, just rectangular. And then you knit basically a triangle for the sleeves, for each sleeve. And then you seam them together. And it's a bulky yarn with like a faux, what does she call it? A faux fisherman's, no, I can't remember. But it's a type of pattern that stays flat. It doesn't roll at the edges, so there's no ribbing involved or anything like that. And then you just keep it together with like a pananula brooch or something like that. And I'm making it in light gray. So I kind of want to get back to that. I'm kind of itching to do that. But in my little brain, and I told Hannah, I said, I'm thinking about this for you. And she's like, yes, please. So I don't know. Eve said she saw a comment asking about the patterns of the sweaters that I made for Hannah, my daughter, and Jordan, her best friend. And actually, those are my own patterns because I used a book called The Sweater Workshop by Jacqueline Fee, and it teaches you how to make your own sweaters without a pattern using any yarn. So really, it's actually, she talks about hand spun as well. So because all you need to do is have the yarn and make a swatch and measure it. Kind of the fabric that you like, if you want it tight, if you want it loose, whatever, you measure the gauge and then you extrapolate it out using Elizabeth Zimmerman's percentages. And so Jacqueline Fee took Elizabeth Zimmerman's percentage system with her permission and created this book that teaches you kind of, if you want this, if you want that, if you want a hoodie, if you want a sweatshirt pocket, if you want, and it teaches you from the get-go how to make a sweater from no pattern. So I've been thinking about it, and I really like something called an I-cord bind-off, and I don't have any examples of it, but it's like a rounded edge. I made an I-cord bind-off on the sweater I made for Eli years ago. So there's no ribbing. It's just like a straight. So you just knit straight, and then you make this little edging, and it looks really nice, and it doesn't cling to you. It just is just like a sleeve, and it has a nice little like a fat rounded, almost like a cable around it. So I've envisioned this sweater for years, not years, for about a year. I've envisioned this sweater for Hannah that would take a bulky yarn, which means it would knit up fast. Oh, this is fingering weight. It's like tiny yarn. And so I know how to do an I-cord bind off, but I don't know how to do an I-cord cast on, which is what I would do. So I like a bulky weight sweater, straight bottomed with an I-cord edge, and then go up and do the same sweater technique, and then at the end of the sleeves have an I-cord bind off, and at the collar have an I-cord bind off. So it'd be just very kind of slouchy and like big boxy. I just want it boxy and kind of big and roomy for her, which she loves. And then I thought, so anyway, I was watching videos on I-cord cast-ons and how you do that and how you do it in the round. And like I've been researching how to do it. And so I might make maybe I'll make a teddy bear sweater or something to experiment, or maybe a little kid sweater to try it out, because of course I don't want to buy hundreds of dollars of sweater yarn and not be able to figure it out. So if I did a little one, it would give me like a model to work with and see if I can do it. And I thought it'd be cute. Then the other day I was like, ooh, what if I did a hoodie and a sweatshirt pocket? Like, that would be really fun, you know. That might be really something she would like. So anyway, she's my favorite person to knit for, and I always think of things. I don't know, I never knit for myself. But so that's pretty much me. I have some patterns. Oh, today I missed a class. So the Dean and Beans sock machine people have crank-along classes on Saturdays I think once a month. Last month was Christmas ornaments, and I missed it because I had a thing. And but I have the pattern, and I'm like, I'm smart enough. I could do it without joining a class. So I'm thinking about that. But then, because you basically you knit a little round thing and you stick a glass ornament inside it and knit it around it, like on the sock machine. So it sounds kind of cool. I don't know how to do it. And then today's class that I missed also was how to make little knitted dolls out of a tube. And I've seen like tutorials on how to do it out of an already made sock. So it's pretty, I think actually creating the doll itself is just like make a tube and then make the doll. So it shouldn't be hard. But I'm sure they have a pattern for that as well. So that would be kind of fun. But I also have a pattern for a toe up, I believe it's toe up, shorty sock, which in Arizona, that's a valuable thing, a shorty sock. So I want to learn how to do that. But I keep looking at I walked in today and looked at my sock machine, and I'm like, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? And because I've been like really going gangbusters on this. But
if I were to wear socks, it would be shorty socks.
I know. I'm aware of that. Everyone I know is that way.
Well, that's because it's so freaking hot here.
I'm really hot. I was like, it's cold today. I'm going to wear like jeans and a long sleeve shirt, and I'm roasting.
Tell them what temperature cold was.
60. It was 60 this morning, and I was like, ooh, cold. But by the time I got here, it was
You were just anxious to wear a long sleeve shirt.
I know. I was like, I'm tired of these t-shirts.
I've been watching, various Flosstube people like up in Michigan or this and that, like, oh, I had to get my sweater out today. I had to turn the heater on.
I know.
Like,
So this weekend was my first, well, there is a concert tonight, but I'm not involved in it, thank goodness. And it's just it's a free community concert. In case you're thinking that the Phoenix Symphony is greedy, the way I was like, we need people. We're doing a free community concert tonight at a local, it's like a community center in southern Phoenix. And, but I'm not involved in that. So, but this is like my first free weekend and my last free weekend for many weeks, probably till December. So,
well, this is the height of the season.
Right. And so I was like, so originally when I looked at this weekend, I was like, I want to go up north somewhere and like take a weekend and go, but that didn't happen. But so I think tomorrow, actually we're gonna take a drive to the North Country to see leaves before they all gone. But I wanted to do that. I wanted to do this whole weekend. I thought it'd be fun to go north somewhere and see the leaves. Because I'm like, it's gonna hit hard now every weekend until probably December, and then mid-December. The orchestra, poor things, because mid-December is in Nutcracker, so and then Messiah, so they're working like every day of December, like until Christmas Eve.
That's what
people.
Yeah, but they like that because then they have Christmas money.
Well, that's true.
when I played with the Arkansas Symphony, we played. October was one of and February were our busiest months because we did run-out concerts, and we did, I think in both of those months, we did both a pop sound and a classical.
Right. But
whereas the other months we did one or the other.
The Nutcracker is every week. I mean, every like I think not every single day. Maybe they have Mondays off, but it's of all of December.
Several performances.
All of December, and so I like literally.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
remember
well,
last year we had tickets for Christmas Eve. The 4 of us were gonna go, and Hannah came home with COVID.
Yeah.
And so I called, and they're like, "Oh, that's fine. We'll put your money on account." Da da da. And I was like, "Okay, great." And I understood that because it's in box office. We understand that. And so I was like, all year I'm like waiting till the tickets went on sale. Did I tell the story? And their single tickets went on sale. And I called, and I'm like, I would like to use my on-account funds for the Nutcracker this year. And they're like, oh, sorry, those expire at the end of the season. And I'm like, that girl didn't tell me that. And he was like, I'm really sorry. I'm like, she did not say I had to use it that season.
Oh.
Because we
Yeah.
let you use it for like a couple seasons, and we, we're trying to get rid of our on-account funds right now because it's it's money you have on a that it's not real money, but you have to give people tickets for it, so nobody likes that. But so I get it, but I would have liked to have known.
Yeah.
Because then because I would have used it if I'd have known that.
Yeah.
And then
That's like
what other performances do you have?
When we went to the
besides Nutcracker.
To the movies the other day, and I had that birthday.
Your $5 birthday
expired. And it disappeared.
I know, that sucks. They give you your $5 for your birthday the week before, and it lasts a week after, and then they say, so sad, too bad.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
okay,
like,
so we do our drawing. I'm done, because that's literally all I have to talk about. But shall we do our drawing?
Yes.
Okay, so to reiterate, if you use the keyword Arizona, you will be entered. Now, this is not your coasters. This is what my life has been like for the last 3 weeks. Well, because my sock machine is on my sewing table, and today I walked in there. I'm like, I've got to make those coasters, and which means I have to pack up my sock machine, put it away, pull out my sewing machine, and do it. Right? It's just a day's worth of work. So I think I'm going to do that tonight. So tonight I will be making you your coasters, and they'll be fresh off the needles, and we'll put them in the mail. This is the Arizona fabric that will be, and here is a picture of the finished coaster, what it will look like, and we'll be sending you a set of 4 if you win the drawing for the Arizona.
And they're this big.
Yeah, they're this size.
Yeah.
So. And they're my favorite type of coaster because they don't make the soda fall over.
And they don't.
And they absorb
them.
And they don't stick to the bottom of your cup.
And if they do, they don't break.
Mm-hmm. And then we have 2 opportunities to win this Falamingo pattern. And then this Legacy Cloister Cream.
That's really pretty.
Yeah, and this like fuzz all over it. Sorry. It'll be clean when you get it.
We will clean it.
Just got
I didn't want it to get put with our stuff and not be able to remember where we put it because I have a brain like a sieve when it comes to stuff like that. So,
but it's a thread all over it. Sorry,
it's okay.
Sorry about that.
it was on this table where I sew.
Yeah.
By the way, no sympathy. I have to take everything down every week.
I know. I know.
So this is a 10 by 11 piece of fabric, 38 count, Legacy.
It's really pretty. It's
Yeah.
very beautiful.
Very nice.
It's a beautiful color.
All right, so let's do the drawing.
So, okay.
Thank you for our new subscribers and for our beautiful comments. I love it. It's really fun to read.
Yeah, we've had some really nice comments recently.
Oh, and one of them, I think it was Yarn Ho, I can't remember the numbers, said, Eve, if you can't count, why are you on a cross stitch channel? It's helping her grow.
Okay, so I learned how to cross stitch when I was working at a craft shop in Florida.
And you used to be able to count back then?
No.
Oh.
She taught Naomi.
I was actually making jewelry and working at a craft shop. And I taught one of them.
Naomi. She taught Naomi how to cross stitch. And they came home at Christmas because Naomi had spent Thanksgiving with Eve down in Florida. And they came home at Christmas and they both had these cross stitch projects, and they were sitting there working
And you
on
were
the cross
making
stitch.
fun of us.
And I was like,
you were
I
making
want
fun of
to
us.
do that.
Not till after you made fun of us.
And so I don't remember that, but so
Susie
Eve,
Homemakers doing cross stitch.
so Eve took me to Hobby Lobby, and I got a little starter kit, and I've been cross stitching ever since then.
And then I stopped.
And I stopped.
And after we started living in the same house again, I was like, I remember doing that.
All right, let's do the drawing.
So, okay, so I have the decision roulette, and
let's do
which one
flamingo first?
flamingo. This is the first flamingo.
I'm gonna write this down so we don't.
Yeah.
I'll write down
So
who
I have.
She has the
I have-
names.
Oh,
on
you
it.
have it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for this one we have Yarn Hoe, Lazy Linda Crocheter, Chris Cook, Teresa Chuckley, and Radiant.
Teresa, you've been our viewer for a long time. Will you make a comment and tell us exactly how to pronounce your last name?
Yes, because I make it up every time. Chuckley.
Just do a little
So-
phonetic thing for us so
Yes.
we won't butcher your name anymore.
So all of these people are are signed up for the Flamingo
One or two.
1 and 2. So
Okay, so first one.
so this is Flamingo 1. So I'm spinning.
Oh, now you guys spin.
Yeah, now I'm spinning. So we shall see.
Rogue, you want to win?
Why is it not showing? Oh, because it's still moving. Lazy Linda.
Yay.
Lazy Linda.
You got number one.
You got number
let's
one.
circle her name. I'll do this part. You do that part.
Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, so Flamingo number 2, which is, yeah, this one here. I'm trying to make sure I hit the right thing. Oh, I have to sit through my Little Caesars ad. Flamingo number 2. That's,
Sorry, you don't also win a pizza.
okay, it's spinning. Oh, I should have taken Linda's name out of there, but
Well, we'll just spin it again if that happens.
Oh, Teresa.
looks like Teresa. Teresa with a mysterious last name, Chuckley.
Sorry, we're not trying to make fun. We just don't know how to say it.
Beth is trying to make fun, but not of you, of us.
Okay, so for the fabric, the legacy fabric, the word legacy.
We
is
have
here.
1, 2, 3, 4 people.
Yeah.
Did we take out the people that already won?
No, but we'll just,
Okay. re-roll.
yeah.
Re-roll the
So-
dice.
So it's spinning. I think it's gonna.
There it
Oh,
is.
here.
Oh.
Did it say? Oh, no. Yarn
Yarn
Hoe.
Ho!
Yarn Hoe.
Yarn Ho 2981. Congratulations.
2981.
That's what I said. 2981. That's what you wrote
I,
down.
I didn't hear
So
it.
you won the
Absolutely.
fabric.
Yes.
Your comment was like cracking me up.
I know. We
I
love
almost
your
pinned it
comments.
to the top.
We love your comments. Thanks so much. And so this is going to encourage you and to go outside your comfort zone and do something that's not a kit.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you won.
Okay.
All
So the Arizona. Yeah. Okay, Arizona. This is for the coasters. Oh, I think Lazy Linda won. I
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the list, and so the only person that can win is Radiante, because everyone else won
Radiant
something.
something.
Yeah,
Radiant E. Radiant. I think Radiante in what I think of.
Yeah.
So because these people already won.
Yeah.
All right. So
So-
Radiante, we're granting you the Arizona
Coasters.
coasters.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Yes.
So all of you who won, below in our description there is our email address. please email us your mailing address so that we can send you these items.
Even if we've already sent you.
Yeah, because we probably haven't kept it.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't put it in the comments. Just email us, and
Yes.
that
And in your subject of your email, put that you're a winner or whatever.
That you won.
And Yarn Ho,
whatever
if you
you
could put your name also,
Yes.
because I don't want to write it to,
Yeah, make sure.
yeah,
Make sure you give us your real name
and
and
your mail,
address and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
and we'll keep all that information private and secure.
Yes.
I forgot to say, here's your pin. I forgot to say in my part that one of the things I'm thinking about also that I keep almost obsessively thinking about. Do you remember my quilt coat that I made?
Mm-hmm.
That I got
Your what?
My quilted coat.
Yeah, I keep looking at the one I started for Beth that I haven't made.
I love my quilted coat, and I'm looking forward to when it's cold. But I'm like getting obsessed with trying to make a Christmas one.
Mm.
And I thought about doing strip fabrics, and I thought I'll just do a simple, like, what do they call it, jelly roll race, where you just sew all the strips together so it would be like this, and do them this way on the main part of the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought to myself, what if I complicated my life and made it worse and make some kind of other pattern with strips. And I want to use strips because they're easy. And I thought there's one called the Three Dudes Quilting pattern.
That one's a pretty pattern.
Three Dudes Quilting did one where you take three strips and you sew them together, and then you cut them into blocks, and then you take those blocks and you sew two blocks together, but one the strips are going this way and the other block they're going this way, and you sew them together, and then you cut it crisscross like this, and when you open it you have squares that have like 3 stripes this way and 3 stripes this way, but they both come to a point, and so and then you put them together and it creates a whole thing. And I was like, that would be fun. I think that would be a really cool
I love that pattern.
Christmas quilt if I can get the right. So I keep looking at Christmas jelly rolls, and if I don't act soon, they're gonna all be gone. Mm-hmm. And I keep looking at Missouri Star and trying to pull the trigger finally. I think I found one that's like a batiks, and I think it would work really well, and I would like it, and it's like a very dark green, because I don't want one with like silly little, not silly, but you know what I mean, like little
the
Christmas,
cartoon,
like a snowman and whatever, Santas. I want like almost a solids, but not quite, or like a small pattern. Mm-hmm. And because I haven't sewn quilted stuff in probably a year.
I was reading one of those like Dear Abby kind of advice things, where somebody had these 2 women that were friends, I guess. They were both kind of into craft stuff, and the woman, the woman who wrote in, I think had done a big complicated cross stitch thing, and her friend had seen it and asked for something, and so she made one for her friend, and she got it framed and all this stuff, and then the friend offered to make a quilt for her and was going to do one of those t-shirt quilt kind of things. Mm-hmm. And so the woman who wrote in had chosen the t-shirts and had cut them, cut out the patterns, the pictures or whatever, to give to the friend, and then the friend had gone 2 years and hadn't made
Ghosted
the quilt.
her.
Yeah. But no, she's like, oh, I'm gonna make it, and and it's been 2 years and she hasn't made it. And so
Rachel's looking at me right now because I have a stack of
the woman's
t-shirts.
How do I get it back?
I bought a t-shirt quilt kit to make a t-shirt quilt out of some of Dad's t-shirts.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mom didn't really wear that many t-shirts.
Yeah.
So I have gathered up the shirts and all that, and you know what? The biggest impediment to my doing that is that...
Makes you sad?
No.
Oh.
No. Is fear of ruining it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I know.
She said that she, already cut it out, but when you're sewing on t-shirt fabric, it's different than sewing on...
Right, and you have to put staples. So Yeah, because the
Even
reason I say
even this
yeah.
flannel is very different from straight cotton.
Yeah,
And
well, that's one of the things. Like that's why I said Rachel's looking at me because I have a stack of her mom's T-shirts that I have. She asked me to make a quilt for her, and at first I'm like, I don't know how. You know, I'm a confident sewer, but that's one thing I have never done, and so but and also so I'm like, I don't want to. You have to cut the actual squares out after you put the stabilizer on. And so, but you want to have the stabilizer, obviously needs to be bigger than the squares, but also you don't want to waste it. And so, so I keep doing the math in my mind. And
so it's a fear of.
It is a fear.
Because,
and I don't want to mess them up.
If it's a precious thing.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you're quilting some fabric that you bought, yeah, you might have to buy some more fabric, but it's not.
Yeah, it's
like,
just fabric.
Like a sentimental T-shirt or something.
Yeah. I mean, and it's very different, I think, because, Rachel and I are family, and I hope she forgives me for being so long on it. But then, but that with the friends, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't,
What do you say? How do you approach it?
Well, I think the advice was like, say, "Oh, I know you're very busy and want to take something off your plate."
Right.
And you to get the back, whatever. But yeah. So.
Well, no, Rachel's always been very gracious.
Yeah.
But
So. So I've had a week, and I'm not going to tell you what kind of appointments, but of extremely uncomfortable appointments. The first one, I knew I had an appointment, but I don't remember them telling me they were going to do this procedure. Fortunately, I took a bath before I went.
Oh no. Oh no.
And can we just say it was worse than going to the OBGYN?
Oh no.
Okay. So then, and I have to have some scans or something for something he wants. Okay. So then the next day I had an appointment about my foot. And meanwhile, I'm still going to physical therapy for my knee, but So I got another injection in my foot, and I have a boot on my foot right now.
Oh, I saw that. I was like, what's that about?
So it's plantar fasciitis. Anyway, the injection in my heel was probably the most comfortable of the appointments that I've had. And then I had an OBGYN appointment yesterday, for which I have to do even more tests. And these are just ordinary, always need tests. But, you have to schedule them and do them. So because I had those others and the ones that this doctor wanted, I called and I kind of wanted them all on the same day. So that I'm not here. Most of this imaging is done by SIMON, and I don't really care for SIMON because they're impossible to work with.
Hey.
So I gave myself, I had an appointment at 3, and I started at 1 to try to make these appointments.
I was over here working on FFOing stuff, and I heard her. Could you repeat that? I can't understand you. Could you say that again? So, are you saying it? Is this address or is it that address? And then, it's like she's not happy.
So, I mean, I try to understand. I mean, my grandmother moved here from Mexico. Both of them did. And I grew up hearing all different kinds of accents and understanding them. And I lived in Europe and learned to hear English spoken with all kinds of accents. So please don't misunderstand what I'm about to say. But if you cannot clearly speak whatever language that you need to whoever you're helping on the phone, perhaps that is not the job for you. Because she was trying and she was polite, but she was reading words and she didn't know how to say it. So she was trying to phonetically read it. Well, a lot of medical terms cannot be phonetically read. A lot of street names cannot be phonetically read. And then she wouldn't
spell it for you?
No. One of the things she wanted to know was which location I was interested in doing this with. Well, one of these tests I knew could not be done at the one that's 5 minutes from my house. It had to be done at the one that has a certain capability.
And isn't that her job to know which facilities can do which? That's my big problem.
Yeah,
with
but
them.
she doesn't know what part of Phoenix I'm in.
Right.
And I said, Chandler Regional Hospital has there's actually two of that company's things right there. One of them can do things and the other one does the other things. Okay. So I said, I would like to go there. One of the things is a bone density test. It's not a big deal, but they can't do it everywhere. And I said, it's across from Channel Regional Hospital. Now, I'm positive, well, okay, I'm not positive. I'm 99% sure that she is in Arizona, okay? But surely 2 locations in the same general vicinity across from a hospital probably isn't common, but okay. So I said, that's what I wanted. And then she gave me a couple of things, one of which was on Thomas Road, which is
across the city.
Yeah. And I had stuff done on Thomas Road before because they couldn't get me in within a timely manner.
Elsewhere. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But it's far. I had to go around the mountain that way. Anyway, I said, no. I said, the one I want is on Fry and Dobson. Those are the corner streets. Mm-hmm. So she started reading 2 different addresses to me. And I said, is one of those Fry? Frye? Wow. Yes. I said, that's the one I want. And see, so just stuff like that, because I'm not looking at a map of their location, so I can't give her the address.
Right.
And I'm not going to call up a map of it. That's why I'm talking to you.
That's your whole job.
Right. And then I had 5 or 6 things that I wanted done all at the same time. And 5. And so after being on the phone with her for almost an hour, I said, what about this one? Oh, let me see if they can do that one then. And she had to change the date because she forgot about it after I'd been talking. Okay, so now I had 3 done, ready on the same day appointment. She tried to tell me what I needed, for preparation or whatever. Mm-hmm. Thank God she sent me an email with a link to it because I couldn't understand anything she was saying. So then I said, what about the other 2? Are they going to be able to do those at the same time? 3 of these are, the other 2, and one of them are ultrasound imaging. Can't we just do that all at the same time? She says, I have no authorization to make those appointments. They'll have to call you. Yeah, one of those, I've been waiting for them to call me for over 2 weeks now, and they hadn't. So that's why I was calling. And I'm going, I don't want to have to make 1,000 appointments to go to the same place to get tests that can be done all at once. I would rather be there all day.
Right.
And I realized that it might need a different technician to do it, but that's why you make an appointment, right? Mm-hmm. So if it has to be done on 2 different days, fine. But
not because someone's incompetent and doesn't understand what needs to be done when.
Mm-hmm.
Only because that's really literally why.
And why are you not allowed to make those appointments?
Right.
Can you transfer me to somebody who can make? by the time I got off the phone, I was just absolutely, I wasn't angry. I was frustrated. I was like, and now they expect me to wait. Those appointments are going to be a week from today, the ones that she set up. And I would really like it if I could get the other 2 in the same day at the same location. But the chances are I can't. And unfortunately, I need those other 2 first. So I'm just kind of going, I really hate Simon Ed. Because you can't, it's difficult to make an appointment. When you're there, it's fine. Well, unless you need an x-ray. But when you're there, it's fine. They're polite. They know what they're doing. In general, you get in when you're supposed to.
It's always been a nightmare with them. Always,
but
always,
and they say,
always.
well, you can schedule yourself on the phone, except you can't if you want something like what I was wanting to do.
Right.
And
One time I walked in for a walk-in x-ray, and they're like, we can't do that here. I'm like, don't you have walk? Well, we do, but our technician is blah blah this and blah blah that, and I'm like, oh, geez, like everywhere can do walk-in X-rays. Like, okay.
well, and of course, if I need an X-ray, I'd rather go to the ER and wait the 4 hours there because
Unless
at least
you
you're
get some horrible disease, like
at least you're in a more comfortable thing, and you're going to wait. The last
Well,
time.
let me tell you about a great place. It is Banner Imaging, which used to be EVDI, over at Warner and McClintock.
If I can get my insurance to cover anywhere else, I will.
Yep, that's
Because
a great place.
I am not waiting for an X-ray at Simon Med again. I've told doctors that, no. I had to wait 4 hours. They told me it was going to be 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
I
the
melted
thing
Beth.
that's the thing I don't like is that I have to have regular MRIs because of the tumor that I had taken out, the brain tumor I had taken out. They had to leave a little sliver of the tumor because it was on my facial nerve. So they had to leave that little sliver in there. So I have to take regular MRIs to check on the status of that sliver. And but because I have a shunt that's magnetic, they put a little magnet on my head to adjust it or whatever. So it's magnetic. And the MRI, of course, is a big magnet. And so I have to have an X-ray before the MRI and then afterward to make sure that little adjustment thing doesn't, move or whatever. And
they won't schedule you.
Yeah, so they won't schedule the X-ray.
Well,
so I have to sit there and have the X-ray and then have the MRI and then have another X-ray, and I have to sit there forever,
So when I went to, I call it EVDI because it used to be EVDI, but when I went there, I explained that, and they were like, no, we would schedule all of it. Like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they won't schedule X-rays. I understand
If you
wanting
need
to allow people to walk in
in.
for an X-ray because accidents happen.
But something like that should be
Yeah.
scheduled.
Yeah.
Right.
And
If
that's what she said. She's like, no, we would 100% schedule that at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been there for hours when
That's
Beth
why I
had an
love you.
appointment for
So
Beth.
you should look into them. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the one thing that's nice is that when I had the MRI in last year in 2022, Dr. Sims, my ENT, said, "Yeah, I don't think you have to have one until 2024." So I'm like, "Yes." So yeah. So this year I have not had an MRI, but next year I will. But yeah, they on the little MRI thing. You're supposed to list like how other MRIs you've had. And I'm like, I can't even fit them on here because I've had so many now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whenever I have to fill out stuff for a new doctor, and they want to know, what procedures you've had and what year and where you had them, I'm like, I don't know where. I don't remember.
No.
I remember what. I don't remember when. I don't remember where.
Yeah.
Especially I had a surgery when I was living in Florida, and I remember that it was in Florida. I remember what town it was in. Do I remember the name of the hospital? Absolutely not. Right. Do I remember when? No. Do I care? Does it matter? No. It doesn't matter. Why would it matter? It was so long ago that it could not possibly matter. So I put guesses.
Yep. Approximations.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some, that, okay, I can understand where that might be affect me today or now.
Yeah.
Like I had a lump removal. They would like to know when and where so that if they're dealing with that, that makes sense. Okay. But some of the stuff I'm like,
when you had your tonsils out, it's not that great.
Yeah.
Unless you just had them out last week.
and I understand because, taking a careful history means that they're going to take better care of you because they won't accidentally give you something you're allergic to or,
right.
something like that. I have been at doctors where I've had them try to prescribe something for me and I'm like, absolutely not. I'm allergic to that. I'm not taking it. And I'm very careful to tell everybody everything I'm allergic to, which is an extensive list. But so I don't want to be upset because they're making you give them a history because they need to. But sometimes I'm like, could they just say the last 5 years or something? I understand asking, have you ever had cancer? Or, does you have a family history of cancer? Because those things can matter, but I don't know. I just kind of am like, really? I don't know.
I don't remember. I know.
I'm horrible at dates anyway. Beth can say, oh, well, in 19 such and where we did that. How do you remember that?
I always tell my family, I should ask Beth when that was.
Mary Lou's the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't remember those things. I don't remember what date. The doctor, one of those doctors was asking me just to see, updated stuff because I hadn't seen him for a year. Is this still true? Is that still true? And you had this. I'm like, yeah. And fine. I'm glad they keep an updated record. That's great, right? But some of this stuff I was like, yeah.
Well,
that was forever ago.
When we were talking about cross stitching, I remember the Christmas specifically because it was right before I moved it was the December before I moved to Little Rock. So I know I started cross stitching in 1988, in December of 1988. And the only reason I remember that is because I
remember how old Robert was. I mean, what grade he was going into when we moved here. But I have no clue what year that was. I know that Robert graduated from high school, but I don't know what year that was. And, I barely know what year this is.
Well, that's a whole different problem. No, I was going to say, I was trying to think about the history of knitting when you were saying all that for me. Because I know that Eve taught me to knit when I was in college.
I taught you to crochet first, I think.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I started crocheting. I don't even remember when.
I remember you made a crochet stocking.
That was later.
Was it?
Yeah, that's when I got married. But it was so it was in 92-ish. But, or it was after that, because the first stockings we had as a married couple were these quilted things that I hated forever. I finally got rid of them. And they weren't really quilted. I didn't quilt them. They were like a panel. It was like a quilted panel, and you were supposed to make only one stocking out of it. But I took them and made 2 stockings because I was too cheap. I guess. I don't know what. Anyway, I never liked them. And I couldn't get the piping on right. And they were awful for years. And then I made the crochet stocking. But no, I learned to crochet a long time ago from I remember Grandma showing me. But then it didn't stick. But then Eve kind of taught me. And I don't know what I made early on, besides granny squares or something. But I know I used to do doilies when I was young. I did a bunch. And then, but I know that I started knitting when I was in college, and I remember I never finished anything, and it was like tight and like I couldn't even get the needles into the stitches, to go back and do the next row or whatever. So it didn't really stick. But then I remember one day, and I'm trying to, I think of years by what house I was in, because I have a memory of it being at my house now, but I think it was prior to that I started, that one day I was, I don't know, Joann's or something, and I was like, socks, I want to make socks, and I didn't know how to make socks, and it was like that little red heart piece of paper, which I still have, it's just getting really tattered. I finally downloaded a digital copy of it, but the sock pattern there, and I bought metal, if you can believe it, double point needles, and I just decided to make a sock. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just going to knit this. I'm just going to do everything it says.
I remember,
and it came out fine. I mean, it worked. And now, one thing that happened was I realized that I was knitting. So when you knit, right, you knit. You're knitting, and you're looking at and especially when you're knitting in a tube, the front of the sock, and you're knitting right here, and the tube is going out from you like this. But I realized that I was knitting on the opposite side of the tube, and that the fabric was in front of me this way. So I was knitting inside out. And so, but then when I was listening to a podcast the other day, and someone had mentioned that actual technique for Fair Isle, where you have floats of colors.
So you already know how to do it.
That someone said you can knit, Fair Isle basically inside out, and the floats have more room, so they're floating. They're the strands of color that aren't being used. They're called floats, and they're on the outside, so they have a little bit more surface area to travel than when they're on the inside of a tube, right? So when you do that, then they don't get too tight like they would if they were on the inside of a tube. And the podcast ladies were like, but then that means you're purling, that you're working on the wrong side of the Fair Isle, and that's horrible. And I was like, I'm sitting in my car going, no, that's not what she means. She means actually knitting the tube on the wrong side, on the far side, rather than the close side. Because I'm like, I know exactly what she means, because that's what I accidentally did when I made that first pair of socks. So, and it took me a long time to figure out that I could just flip it inside out and then work on the correct side. But
when we were growing
I don't
up,
remember what year that was.
It had to have been shortly after you moved here, because you got into knitting pretty quickly after, and then you started quilting.
Well, I remember you sent me a pair of socks.
I remember when we were kids.
No, that was the second pair.
Yeah.
When we were kids, I was always more into the homemaker stuff. Not because I wanted to do. I was just liked sewing and knitting and crochet, and I remember sitting at my grandmother's foot while she was crocheting, and my aunt teaching me how, and
I was talking, and I totally forgot the pattern I was knitting, and I messed it up.
I made Naomi a dress. It was like off-white with animals on it. The dress was about this big, so she was little, and I think that was the first thing that I just made, because Mom had been teaching us how to sew. And then in Brownies, they were teaching us embroidery. Beth embroidered her dress.
I had the thing in my lap, and I kept stitching my skirt.
But I remember you taught me to sew when I got married.
When you got married, and I bought you a sewing machine.
You bought me a sewing machine, so she started that bug. And so I had wanted to quilt forever, and I thought that I didn't have the room, because I kind of thought that you needed just like vast expanse of table and and all this, and I don't remember what year it was. It was after I moved to my current house. And then I started watching Missouri Star Quilt Company's tutorials, And that was the very beginning of MSQC, because now it's very fancy, but back then it was like really like just nitty gritty, and their tutorials, and I love that company. And so the first one I made was Hannah's. It was a jelly roll race, because I was like, oh, I can do this, because all I need to do is, so I would take my sewing machine to the dining table and kind of take over, which is, I had always been sewing this whole time since I got married. I had sewn like, my masterpiece of the leopard costume for Hannah when she was little. That was a masterpiece. That was an absolute masterpiece. I worked with faux fur and made this, it was adorable.
I made my own swimming suits. I sewed my own swimming suits. And then after I was married, we were in Belgium, and he needed a suit for something. I don't remember what. I made it for him.
Wow.
And, I think he only wore it that one time, but I don't care. I had fun. Yeah. And sewing it yourself is not cheaper. Okay. The reason I made my own swimming suits was because that way I could be sure it would fit right. And the reason I made him a suit was also so that it would fit right, because he didn't already own one, and we were a place where you couldn't just go shop for one unless you could speak French. So
I remember reading something about Ioan Griffith, the actor, that I guess he grew up in Wales, and I don't know if they were poor or maybe just, but it's something about wearing pants to school that his mother knit. Yeah, and like other kids like looking at him askance and making fun of her or something like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I thought, how do you knit pants?
or men's shirts. Men's shirts, sewing men's shirts.
It's so hard.
My goodness, with all the little plackets and yeah.
I sewed when we were very little. My mother bought these like kind of skirt things that came with the elastic already in them, and all you did was sew a seam. And so she taught us, do this, and we sewed the little seam to make the skirt. And I think in when I was in junior high, we had to take home ec, and half of the year was sewing, and we were supposed to sew. I sewed a tote bag, and I think I think I made the tote bag, but then I embroidered on it.
They made us sew and embroider.
Yeah, and then I was supposed to sew. I sewed like a jumper or something, but I did part of it, and then my mother finished it for me. So it was like the day before it was due or something like that. And I was
here's the thing about home ec that I think. It used to be that
Your mom finished homework for you?
Yes.
Wait.
not my mother, hers.
Our mother, the educator, finished homework for you?
So
yeah, sewing.
The thing about when we were young with home ec, and it's not called that now. I don't remember what it's called now, but where girls, not boys, were taught basic skills in homemaking. Sewing, cooking, embroidery, various, but not things like cleaning. It was just,
yeah,
and
learned how to make a hot dog pizza.
And it gets a lot of bad people talking about it like it was bad, and. I still have the recipe book I wrote when I was in home ec, and everything in there is absolutely delicious and easy to make.
Right.
And the nice thing about that was that you knew how to cook for yourself. Now, was it basic stuff? Yeah, but you could do it.
Right.
And
took culinary in high school.
Yeah. Well, see, because they finally started saying, maybe the guys. But it became an elective.
Yeah,
right?
when I was in junior high, it was the first year that girls could take shop. Mm-hmm. And so my friend and I were in the shop class together.
In high school,
and I made a wooden apple.
I wasn't allowed to take shop in junior high, so it must have been right after I went to high school. But in high school, I took plastics. And I loved that class.
Cool. Yeah, I took ceramics.
And I remember,
High school, I loved.
The very first several weeks of plastics, they had OSHA. You had to do all this OSHA.
Eli just texted me. It's called Family and Consumer Sciences now. Thanks, Eli.
Yeah, but it's not an elective.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an elective.
Right, you don't have
and
to. And
I think all people should know
how to sew a button on your pants.
I think all people should know how to boil water and make macaroni and cheese or something like that. You know, just
so you don't
just
starve to
saying.
death.
But that's kind of what your parents.
So they don't put their house on fire. So, well, not everybody has parents that are going to teach their kids stuff. But anyway, that being said, so I'm doing this OSHA thing, and it was 2 weeks or something like that of all these OSHA guidelines and requirements and how not to kill yourself while you're making plastics. And so after that, we needed to pass a test on the OSHA requirements. It was an open book test. You could have the stuff right beside you.
Yeah, and people failed it.
I think I was the only person that passed it the first time.
Gosh.
Of course, I was the only girl in there. But that class was so much fun.
Look how far back I have to go to fix a mistake I made. All this way.
That's very sad. That's what happens when we talk.
Oh, and I just dropped a bunch of stitches.
So,
Sorry.
I don't understand people that fail open book tests.
But that plastics class was cool. I remember you.
Yeah, I made all kinds of really cool things. I took my dad's tools and put plastic on the grips.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I remember that.
When I was in,
was one of them like pink or something? I don't know. I remember.
No,
that.
I don't think so. I think they were like a clear color.
So I took home ec and shop in junior high, and then in high school, I was going to take an art class, so I signed up for this art class, and I ended up being in an arts and crafts class because it was supposed to be just art, like drawing, but it was arts and crafts, and I'm like, oh, okay. So we did ceramics, we did weaving, and other things like that.
Weaving is something I want to get more into.
Yeah, and so...
Oh, you did that batik thing. That's when you did that? That was so cool.
Yeah, we did batik, all this stuff. And so then the next year, I wanted... I don't know if I wanted... it was something, they did it backwards, because then I had an actual art class, like drawing and stuff. And what was funny is that there were a handful of guys in that class. It was mostly girls. And there were a handful of guys in that class, and I think they were mostly taking it because, like, for an easy A.
Mm-hmm. Why do they always think that this stuff is easy?
Because they were always goofing around.
It's like the Breakfast Club with the guy that couldn't turn on the elephant's nose. And
why did you think it would be easy? And they're like, oh no.
But so they were in this class, and they were always kind of acting up and stuff. But one of the guys in that class was the brother of one of my best friends. I was like, that's all I knew him was in, and he's such a straight-laced guy now. But it was like in that class, like, your brother is one of these hooligans. But it was very funny.
Well, you know what?
But it was a great class. I remember I
would have loved to have taken shop long enough to learn how to do things for myself, certain things for... Now, don't get me wrong. My father would not let us drive a car if we didn't know how to change a tire. Yep. Did I ever have to change a tire? No, but she did.
Yes,
and
I did.
Because they make places where you can go and they'll do it for you. And
not if you're on the highway in the middle of Texas.
No, but
if you were ever on a highway,
if I were on a highway, I would know how, but I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Dad wanted to make sure that we were prepared, and that's why I think that both sexes should be required to learn how to do basic care of yourself.
The shop class I had,
The shop
we didn't do
people,
anything
you
like
know,
that.
people
We
drive
learned how
Ubers
to
now. Yeah.
we learned how to use a jigsaw and things like that. And we made a balsa wood.
That's cool.
What do you call it? Floor plan.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. And so all the walls were, we cut out
I
of
had
balsa wood.
ceramics in high school, and it was my favorite. And
Yeah,
I
I
had
had-
dragon.
Yeah, I remember the dragon.
Yeah, in high school, the ceramics class I had, we did a little bit of throwing, but mostly hand building. You make a slab and put things together.
But
and all that.
that ceramics teacher did me dirty because that dragon, I don't know if I didn't listen to him or he didn't give me advice.
Mm-hmm.
But I made that dragon out of a giant piece of clay. Mm-hmm. I didn't mold it over anything. Mm-hmm. So of course it's too thick to fire. So I put it on 2 tables and I'd sit on the floor and dug out the center. Mm-hmm. So stupid, but it worked really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say
made a lamp out of it.
In the art class that I took, the drawing class, one of my favorite things that I did in there was, she had us draw an egg without drawing the egg. So what we did was we had an egg, a ceramic egg, in the middle of the table, and we drew all the shadows around it. Yeah, and
cool.
So we did all the shadows. And it made the egg there, and I was like, "Oh, that's really good," because I'm that drawing and that sort of thing is not my strong suit. I can do it at gunpoint, but it's not something that I naturally have an affinity for. Yeah, and
I can't. I say I can't, but there's been times when I'm like, "Oh wow, look at that! Look what I did!"
Yeah,
but I don't have any confidence.
That's the thing. Yeah, the thing is that. And I remember reading this article about this some time ago, and it really is, I think, the philosophy that I've adopted that when kids are little, preschoolers, kindergarten, whatever, very young, and the teacher says, "Draw a giraffe," and they're like, "Oh, here's the giraffe. Draw your family. Here's mom and dad and me and the dog and the house and
Draw a giraffe, and it has a little bubble on its head that nobody knows what it's for.
has a little helmet." But so kids will just draw freely, and because they're not Rembrandt and they don't expect to be Rembrandt, they just draw whatever, and then at some point. You tell yourself, "Oh, I can't draw. I can't do it. I can't," because you can't make something realistic, or you can't make whatever, or something very artistic or whatever. So you tell yourself, "Oh, I can't draw," or kids a lot of times will just sing. Like a friend of mine joking about because she made up a song. She got her toe stuck in the faucet of the bathtub, and so she made up some song about what she was doing. And But so when you're, little kids, they'll sing about anything. They'll sing while they're playing with their toys or whatever,
Right.
They make up little songs. But then at some point, you tell yourself, "Oh, I can't sing," or "Oh, I can only sing in the shower. I can't really sing. I can't carry a tune in a bucket," and that sort of thing. And
But
what it is
some
that
of that is one person saying,
yeah. But I mean, what
that looks like.
But what we get it in our heads that again we have to sing like Pavarotti or Madonna, whoever your favorite artist is, and if you don't sing like that, then you can't sing or whatever. And the problem is, I know is just practicing.
You're right.
Because like with drawing, drawing is not my strong suit. I could never make a living as an artist, but if I have to draw something, I can draw it. Like when I was first in Little Rock, one of the things I did was I taught Mother's Day out, and our kids were 3-ish, I think, the kids in my class, maybe younger than that, but we were supposed to have some sort of a lesson plan kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we had like a theme for the week. We're supposed to talk about camping. We're supposed to talk about this and that and the other, dog, pets, or something like that. And so we had there were some drawings that the kids could color as we talked about it, color the dog's tail or whatever. But they were very complicated. Some of the pictures were very complicated, very detailed, and they're like pictures out of a coloring book or something like that. And I thought, they're not going to be able to really see what that is or tell what that is or whatever. And so I just, the night before or whatever, took a piece of paper and drew a dog. It looked like, like Clifford the Big Red Dog or something. I just drew a dog and made copies of that, and that's what the kids colored. Or like I drew a camper, a little, one of the little round I Love Lucy campers, know. And
and
the thing is
I think that's a problem with coloring books is that the kids look at that and they think, well, I can't draw like that.
Yeah. So, but I remember, people coming to me, oh, you're so good. You could. I'm like, I'm not. I had to erase it for 1,000 times to make the proportions right. But but the thing is that it's just that you just practice and you do it until, like a friend of mine told me, I just look at a thing. Because she was very talented, and she goes, I just look at it until I really see it, and then I draw what I see. And I'm like, okay.
But you know what? Okay, so I just realized we are very long on time today. Yes. But I really quick, I want to say what I realized when
holy cow,
Eve taught me how to sew, and I would make things, and there's always mistakes, but I realized like a piece of clothing, especially. Is like a living, breathing thing, and it's moving. Now, as long as you don't have one sleeve that's down to your toes and the other sleeve is way up here, I mean, mostly, if you could, is anyone going to see that my seam went like this, or like it's just about, in a way, I think it's bravery. Like I'm going to make this thing, and whether I'm going to paint it or whatever, or make a knit thing, and or whatever. You just have to be brave, and you're not going to break anything, and you're not going to affect the state of the world by making a mistake in a knitting thing or in a sewing thing. It's just, or even making a bad painting. No, it's not going to affect anything. So you may as well be brave, and you may as well express yourself and do something in joy and in happiness.
And if you don't like it, don't keep it.
Right.
Yeah. So we gotta go.
Yeah.
Our battery's dying.
Yes.
we can't even see ourselves right now.
When it comes to singing, I think it's just a matter of ear training and singing it over and over again. That's how I used to teach kids.
For yourself,
you just sing the song until you can sing it.
Yeah. Enjoyment. And it's all about especially something like this. It's not life-threatening. It's not the end of the world.
So before we go real quick, remember, if you're one of our winners,
so that's Lazy Linda Crocheter, Teresa, Yarn Hoe, and Radiante is how I'm saying
Radiant.
it. Radiant.
I think I had her name, but I think it's just Radiant. She told me, because she entered my contest a while back.
Anyway, if you're one of those, make sure you email us. Thanks for joining us again.
Sorry, so long.
Have a good week, and have a great Halloween. Bye.
Yes, bye.